very angrily rocking out.
I like the fade, Patrick. You're just like
Yeah, very nice.
I've been
throttling
practicing that all week. Should have been working. I might lose my job, but it was good, right?
It really was.
It
Very
was
nice.
good. Your mic is hot.
Oh, thank you. Thank
It's
you.
hot.
Okay.
I pulled you down here, but maybe just
Thank you.
calibrates the word of the pre-show. It's just calibrate.
I know. We're fighting. Well, that's what I told you before. We're fighting the different gear, not normal gear.
The Germans, Tommy. We're fighting the Germans.
Are you afraid of the Germans? Snatch. Great movie.
It is.
Oh, right. Is that still too hot?
I think you're fine now. I think you're fine.
All right, we'll see. Who's here?
Wow.
Who's here?
No,
Oh,
I think it's pronounced hosier.
Roan Chapel is here. Will is here. Mackenzie is here. Patrick is here.
Rowan Chapel?
Yeah, Roan Chapel. Roan Chapel.
I believe
is
my mom when
Rowan?
she said she hadn't heard of her, but I do not believe you guys.
Oh, we're talking about the Irish actress?
Yeah, Roan Chapel. Just
Oh.
kidding. Chapel Rowan or whatever her name is.
Maybe I don't know who we're talking about. Genuinely.
Seriously?
Unless it's
This?
the Irish
Yeah.
This?
The
hot to
singer.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink Pony Club. Good luck, babe. Maybe the
Cool.
most
You're
popular
just saying
musician right now.
phrases now, but I
Yeah.
have no idea who the hell we're talking about.
I just feel like she's very, very popular right
Wow.
now, so I'm surprised you have not heard
She's
any.
hugely
Is
songs.
she
popular right
popular on Bravo?
Yes, actually.
Okay, but then I
Okay,
have
no,
context for it.
No,
But, like-
you're saying that as though she's only popular on Bravo. No,
That-
she's
Yeah,
That's
no,
my
not
question.
at all. This
She's
is
like
actually like the coolest
headlining
thing that I
major
know about.
festivals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
that is
headlining-
true. This is the coolest thing Lauren knows about.
She's headlining major festivals.
Yeah, like she was the biggest show like at Coachella and what was the other big one? Like South by, or I don't remember now because I don't know music festivals.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It
have
just
no
it
frame of reference for
sounds
that.
very like Madonna and like was it Tiffany the Mallrat? Was that what her name was? It sounds very much like that type of music, but she is the it girl right now.
Okay.
Yeah. She's great. I agree with Mackenzie. Her VMA performance was amazing. So cool
Yeah.
with the like night costume and everything.
I only want the chainmail sweats that she was wearing.
Yeah, they sell those.
Those look great.
Yeah.
They look comfortable.
I can see you
but they
wearing
look
those.
mean.
Yeah. They're just a really casual everyday look.
Yeah, chainmail sweats. Very casual everyday look. Yeah, her VMA. I mean, I don't know that her. So far, her live vocals haven't lived up to her album vocals, but it's still fun music.
I feel like the performances are really good, even if the like vocals aren't perfect. Like she's
Yeah.
very fun to watch.
Someone play the music for Andrew. So I would like to, but
Yeah, we
my
will after
audio,
this.
my audio setup is not set up, and so therefore I can't actually.
Here's
play
the deal,
music.
and I'm fine. Like I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Hey,
Uh,
don't you start curmudgeoning us.
I'm not. I didn't say anything. I'm literally
You're right.
sitting here quietly letting you guys talk about this. I'm not saying a thing.
Fair. All right, then tell us something, Andrew. What do you want to tell us?
Why don't we start?
Okay.
then we can start talking. That is the show. That's what the show is. 3 and 2.
1 second before we
Okay.
start.
Oh, I
All
almost
right.
forgot to clap.
Lauren, I need you to know that Mackenzie and maybe myself are going to see a Luann in person the first week of December.
I am so jealous.
You could come
You
too.
get to see the cabaret.
I'm just letting you know that you could come too, and you could also see it.
Is it in Chattanooga?
Yes, she's doing like some Christmas special thing in
Oh
Chattanooga.
my god.
Okay, you can count us in now, Andrew.
That's so
Okay.
awesome.
All right, here we go. 3 and 2 and 1 and. That was about the closest we've all been on at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe ever, including the times we've done it in
Okay.
person. It's been crazy. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 500. Oh, shit. I never
Whoa.
typed the outro. let me do that real quick.
We can keep talking about Countess Luann.
Sure, yeah.
But
you
the
guys
point
just have
is,
at it.
yeah,
I
she'll
really,
be.
when is it?
It's first week. I think it's like December 7th or something.
December? Okay, this is doable.
I'm serious. You should.
I kind of want to come, or so like I really do. I will look into this.
And listen. If you make the trip over here, we'll take care of your ticket. You're
Okay.
we'll take care of your ticket. We will take you to see.
I am so excited. What do you
Okay.
wear? Like,
I'm gonna wear a black shirt and black shorts.
He's
what I'm
gonna look
gonna wear.
exactly like how he looks right
yeah.
now. Plus or
This.
minus some hair, depending on where it falls in his haircut schedule.
Yeah, so that might have been rhetorical.
Yeah.
And then in January, Steve Martin and Martin Short are coming to Chattanooga. So
I'm
What
coming
Andrew's
for
gonna
that.
come for, yeah.
okay,
I'm gonna come for that
okay, there we go.
because I missed it when they
All
came
the
to San
balance is
Antonio.
restored.
They came to San Antonio and I missed it, and I was so upset that I missed it. So
Yeah.
I think that gives me a reason to go to Chattanooga.
Oh, there it is.
Just the one.
Makes sense.
All right. Welcome to episode 567 of the Pop Culture Roundtable, the podcast that's dipping its toes into fall. And boy, oh boy, does it feel an awful lot like summer. In this episode, we talk about The Substance, Agatha All Along, and Astrobot. I'm Andrew Sale.
I'm Lauren Rubin.
I'm Patrick Hill.
So cozy up with your PSL in the 85-degree weather, because it's time for another episode.
And boy, are my arms tired.
For real, if you mean like 100 instead of 85, it's ridiculous.
Well, so I said 85 as a more universally.
Yes.
85 is we're in we're like in seasonably warm weather as a this isn't a
people?
company. What's it called?
A
country.
Country. Thank you.
Yeah.
As a country, but yeah, in Texas it was like 96 degrees yesterday.
I went for a run on Saturday and I almost passed out because it was so hot. Like,
Well, also you were so drunk
this
and
is before I got
dehydrated.
drunk.
Like,
This
so.
is before I got drunk. This is probably what didn't help me later
Yeah,
on.
you were so dehydrated before you got even more dehydrated. You were sick yeah.
I
Okay.
did a great job.
But you digress. We like to kick. Do we start? We start with that.
Yeah,
That's
go
how we
ahead.
start. Okay.
Hey, Doc. Hey,
Who
Becca.
remembers? We can make up our own rules now.
We like to kick off every episode by going around the table, which is where we talk about things that are new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Patrick, did you go to the zoo this week?
Wait, no, that was last week. We already know I went to the zoo.
I didn't know if you went back because you had such a good time.
No, I
Did I know
didn't.
you went to the zoo? Did you say that?
He said it
Oh,
on
I
the
missed
show.
It was
I-
on
like,
the.
I
He
did
saw
listen,
he
but
saw a
I might
monkey
have forgotten.
masturbating. That's what happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
how special.
I did, in fact, see something along those lines. No, I did not do that, but I did catch a new show on Netflix called Culinary Class Wars, and this has completely taken my attention.
Class
you seem like
Wars?
you already have a question.
I do. Is it culinary class wars? Like it's a class of people doing culinary stuff, or is it culinary class wars?
I believe it's number 2.
It is number 2. It is
Okay.
Class Wars, and in fact,
That's wild.
well, first I should say this isn't made in the U.S. This is made in Korea. Sorry.
Okay.
And the way that this is set up is there are 100 chefs, but 80 of them are the black spoons, aka the dirty spoons.
Oh my
And-
gosh.
I'm just using the language they use. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And
I'd
then
be even careful with that. If I'm being honest, like
Patrick's like, I didn't make it up.
I'm just repeating what they've said. This is it. And then
some things aren't worth repeating.
and then 20 of them are the white spoons. They have a lot of decor around this.
Mhm.
And the 80 first have to compete against each other.
Oh my gosh. This is
narrow down to how
insane.
many? Wait, to narrow them down to 20 first?
Yes, it has to bring them down to 20.
That's so unfair.
But,
Well,
the,
I don't
but
know.
the 20 whites get to just move on to the finale?
Wait,
What the
I will
heck?
say this though.
They get a free
Like,
pass.
on Top Chef, every time when they do like Last Chance Kitchen, those people like totally kick ass because they're like so fired up from already competing for so long in like such an intense environment. So it
Lauren,
might be
check
sort
your
of an
privilege.
edge,
Check your
but-
privilege.
That would be the one like silver lining. I'm trying. I'm
And
fighting
then-
for the dirty spoons.
And at some point, the black and white spoons will face off. And one, at the end of the show, my understanding, because I haven't got there yet, one
Yeah, 100
black
contestants
spoon.
is insane.
One black spoon will get to join the ranks of the white spoons, but I don't think any white spoons can lose position.
Are you kidding?
No.
This is ridiculous.
I have
This
another
show
thing to add.
exists? This seems
Wait,
like a
how many
show-
people do they eliminate
Hang
every
on,
episode if
hang
there's
on.
100 contestants?
This
I have
is
so
a
many questions.
real question, a real
Yeah.
question. Is this not the pitch from a sketch variety show? Like, this sounds like an SNL thing. It sounds like a Tim and Eric thing. It sounds like a Key and Peele thing. Like,
Or
this
like a
seems
horror
like a
movie.
thing.
Like,
It's from Korea. That's all I know
Yeah.
to say. One other thing you should know that I think you'll appreciate is that the white spoons can say their names. The black
No.
spoons
No,
are
no, no,
not
no.
allowed
You're
to use
kidding
their
me.
names. They all have nicknames. And if you get kicked off the show, you have to pick up your plaque with your nickname. You never get to say your name and you have to leave.
You know, you
What
remember
is
we
the-
had people stop listening to the show because we talked about liking a video game. I feel like we may get some
this is just
responses
absolute,
now.
This is a wild concept.
So now the reason they do the name thing, it sounds
Yeah,
bad.
tell me.
But I think the idea is that the white spoons have already made a name for themselves. The black spoons have not, and therefore, if you go to the level of a white spoon, you then get to
You become a whole person.
Except that, like,
Make
half
a
the
name
reason
for
you would go on
yourself.
this show is exposure to, like, you know, like,
Well, I will say, like, they do tell. So the thing is, all these chefs, all 100, are seen as like basically the top 100 in the country. So people do know who these chefs are, and they
Oh,
will say like
okay.
these are the names of their restaurants. So like you do know.
They're
but
like
just-
the Guy Fieri's of Korea.
It is 100 Guy Fieri's. Funny enough, there is one guy that is like Guy Fieri. What I do love is there are a
the
couple,
tips and all.
what I do love is there are a couple of people from the U.S. that I guess just work in Korea and like cook in Korea. So one guy's name is just Joseph, and it's just
That's his
hilarious to.
nickname?
No, his name is Joe. No, one of the white spoons is. It is weird that
Of
one of the
course
white
the white
spoons
person
is
is the
a
white
white guy from America named Joseph. Yeah, that's so they are known people, but like within the context of the show, no one will refer to them by name. They only refer to them by nickname, and then if at
This
the
is
end of it you
wild.
win, then you get to
I can
actually say your
I
name.
can both completely believe and not believe that this exists. This feels like the culinary world's answer to Squid Game.
Yeah,
Like,
it sounds
this
like
is
a
what
mixture
this
of like
is.
Squid
It
Game or
is.
like that
Yeah.
Black Mirror, 10,000 Merits or whatever. That's what it reminds me of.
It's
Like-
funny because one person says this, but so the entire competition, we're like 3 episodes in right now, and what is becoming clear to me is that it's not week after week after week of cooking. It seems like it's going to be whittle down, one big competition at the end. So it sounds like something that, you know, they were able to film within like 1 day, maybe 2 days.
What?
And
How do you
then
like know who
and
to,
it's-
are you actually rooting for anybody at that point? Because they wouldn't have had like any screen time with anyone. Like,
Well, but the thing is like if you have 100 people, then that generates a lot of content if you're trying to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
film tons of people. So
yeah, that's why I'm like, it would be so hard to follow like who's cooking what and like who you're paying attention to or like, oh, that looks good. But,
Lauren,
like,
that
you
is
know,
not
I'm just
that is
curious.
not the purpose of this show. You
Sorry.
you are applying a level of care to this show that they have not intended. For
By the way,
Check this out myself.
Jedi, I've seen the first episode of Strong 100, but I haven't seen past there. Anyway, it's actually been an enjoyable show so far. But that's what I'm falling into right now. Culinary class war may be problematic. Watch to find out. But that's where I'm at.
Can we say that's not fully endorsed by the M of One network? Because we'll just say, since you haven't seen how this thing has finished itself,
We haven't fully seen it, so it would be maybe
so-
reckless to endorse it.
Yeah.
But so far, it's pretty compelling. Again, but maybe problematic. So that's it.
Yeah,
And then
that's just-
otherwise, I'm teasing that I'm going to be talking about a movie called The Substance in the master categories, and it is probably the strongest reaction to a film that I've had this year.
Oh, that's intriguing.
And with that, Lauren, what's going on with you?
I mean, honestly, it was a good time for us to have a break because my work schedule just went like insane and I've been really busy working, which is not the most fun thing. But the coolest thing I definitely did in between this and the last time we talked was Dragon Con, which is my favorite show every year. And this year was particularly a lot of fun. My brother came with me, and that's always like a really fun thing. But because he was there, we got to meet up with some of the people, like the actors that were in his movie and stuff. So that was also just really fun. Yeah, they were. It's funny because like. The last time Jake came with me to Dragon Con, I bought him a photo with Harvey Guillen, and then this time they had done a movie together, so we just like hung out with him, which was awesome.
They're completely done filming, right?
Yeah.
So when will we see more from this?
It's going to be a while because they're like just starting editing and stuff, and then they want to like take it to, festivals and try and get it distributed and everything. So probably over a year.
Are there is there post-production like visual effects and stuff they have to apply for anything?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right.
So it'll take a little bit, and there's like a lot of music stuff that they have to do, but it's coming along. It's exciting. So it was fun to get to hang out with them while we were there. A big part of Dragon Con is the ribbon collecting, and I know I've talked about that last year, but this year I had my own ribbons, so I like got more ribbons than I've ever got in my life. I'm going to attempt to just show the extremely long chain that I had that I couldn't.
That is obnoxiously long. It's
way taller
than
than me. Yeah,
It's taller than
and then
you.
I got so many more, like all of these. I couldn't like keep stacking them, so I had to just like keep them in a bag, and I'm gonna put them on eventually after I figure out how I can possibly hang
Why
that
don't you
up.
double it up? Just double it up and just have like
that's-
a curtain.
Yeah,
of
like
them.
more than one. That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, I know. I'm smart.
Well, when you're wearing it, you just like roll it up, but it was also getting like so heavy it wouldn't stay rolled, so I had to like stop attaching them. But like definitely really fun. Like my brother and I stumbled into where they like do the measuring for the like longest ribbons every year, and they literally just like in one of the hotel lobbies they have like balconies that go way up, and from like the 8th or 9th floor they drop down the very longest one that was like 83 feet or something like that. It was just
But
absolutely
why?
nuts.
But
It's just
why?
a game. This is like a part of Dragon Con. Like everybody has ribbons.
so
They
the
trade them. Like you do silly things to get them. Like it's just like a fun part of.
But the rule. So what are the rules of this? Like the rules are that if they have the longest one, you can't have the same one twice. I assume, right?
I do think that's true. There's like a judging thing like that happens before they do this like let your ribbons down or whatever ceremony. But yeah, they check that they're like no doubles, and then they like lay it out on the floor and like measure the whole thing and like figure out what floor to send everybody to drop theirs down, which is really fun to see.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
It sounds fun to see, but you also know you're a loser if there are people on floors above you.
I guess
true.
that's true.
Yeah, you
but
know-
you
you
can't
know
see
you're not
them
winning.
from where you're like once you're there. So
That's
I don't
true.
know if you know, and I don't
but
know if
if
they know ahead of time. I don't know enough about how they judge it exactly. I've never been there to witness this part of just seeing
If
pictures
you get
before.
on the elevator and and you get on the elevator and you push 6 and the guy gets on behind you and goes, "Can you push 8 for me?" And you go,
Aw.
I like to think
Well-
they find some way to keep it mysterious.
You must
But
take
yeah.
the stairs.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, you have to take the stairs. That's funny. But yeah, that's just like a really fun part of it, and I got an absolute ton of them this year. So make your own ribbons, and that's what happens basically. I also did 2 new costumes before the show at the last minute because that's how I am. And now that I've done this a few more times, I kind of like know my way around, and so I went to the like photo shoot meetups for both of the costumes I had, and it was really fun. The Has Been Hotel one, I did Lucifer, and there was like more people there than I've ever seen at any photo shoot at Dragon Con except maybe Barbie last year. They had so many people that they made all of originally it was supposed to be Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss all together, but there was too much people, so they made the Hell of a Boss people go on a separate like staircase that was next to the one that the rest of us were at. It was really fun though. Like we were all like singing songs together, trading ribbons and all kinds of fun stuff. Someone gave me like a 3D printed like key that's like for the hotel. It's like really cool. It's just, that was like really, really fun. And then the other one that I went to was the Dimension 20 / Dropout meetup. This is my add-on t-shirt. That
awesome.
was so much fun. There was a guy that was there that was dressed like Sam Reich and fully did Game Changer. Like he had podiums, he had buzzers, he had like a computer screen with prompts and everything. He had 2 assistants that were dressed like the people from the show. Like it was so
Do you
funny,
mean
so
black
awesome.
t-shirt and black jeans with a headset?
Well, they actually wore wigs to like look like the people that are on the show the most. I can't think of those people's names off the top of my head, but it was very clever. There was so many people. I was like really, really surprised. I thought there would probably be like maybe 50 people at the very most. There was probably close to 150. It was really fun.
Was Dimension 20 there? Like, did they do anything there?
No, this was just fully like just people who dressed up and
meetup?
like are fans of it and stuff. And like it was mostly Fantasy High, but there was a few from Starstruck Odyssey. There was a few from Unsleeping City. There's like a little bit of everything. It was like so much fun because I love Dimension 20, and it was like I don't get to talk about it that much because most people I know don't like keep up with it regularly. So it was really fun to just be in a whole crowd of everybody who like knew all the jokes, and like we were talking about like what we're excited about with like Never Stop Blowing Up and like the new season and stuff. So it was just, that made my whole weekend. It was really, really, really fun. I got like fun. A tiny little Cortado from a Gallier cosplayer. I got this like Are You My Dad bracelet. Like a lot of now that you've started watching Misfits and Magic, I got a Goat House ribbon.
Eat trash, beat trash was a incredible line, and I tried telling people at work about it, and they were like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "It's
you gotta watch it."
But even watching it doesn't like. To me, it just told me that the people that I hang out with aren't smart enough, and they listen to this, and so because I loved that phrase, eat trash, beat trash. The
so
team
funny.
is the goats. Like that's their mascot.
They're like Harry Potter house is the goat house.
They're the
just
goat
kind
house.
of the Hufflepuffs, and
Just
they're
letting you
like,
know I'm about to listen to this whole Dimension 20.
This is
when
not
I'm
a spoiler
driving.
to tell you what houses there are in their
Eat
fake
trash,
Hogwarts.
beat trash is what one of the people comes up with like as a like.
Yeah,
as
that's
a,
great.
And I
think
love
it's
that
great
you mentioned
trash.
the
I love
goat, you
that.
get the horns.
But
there was many a hoot growl at this meetup. It was super fun. I wanted to ask you about Misfits and Magic because I knew that you had started watching it, Andrew, but you haven't watched it yet, Patrick?
No. I will. So I won't be watching. I'll be listening. So hopefully that's a good enough experience. But I'll start listening to it.
You don't
in
have
the
to
next
see
couple
any
weeks.
of this because
they don't have battle
there's
maps.
there's no visual.
Yeah.
This is a very early, very very early Dimension 20 season.
I think it would probably work just as well in audio. I think the only thing you'll miss out on is the couple of props that they have, but I think they kind of describe them out loud. Which is like but they describe what it looks like, I'm pretty sure, because I rewatched it pretty recently.
Yeah, you will want to see that. If nothing else, just look at that point. Like just have Mackenzie show you the phone when those, because they only happen a couple times and they are, that visual is helpful. But beyond that, the whole thing is just audio, really.
Yeah.
Cool.
You'll like it.
Have you finished it, Andrew?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I think that's a really fun season. I'm very excited that they're doing a season 2. I didn't really like expect that of all the things that they have, and also just like knowing all the like problems around Harry Potter, but it isn't Harry Potter, so I think it's like kind of fun to be like, this is the same kind of like world, but they're also like past the point of making all the jokes, I think. And I think this second season will be a little bit more of like yes, we're in this magical world similar to Harry Potter. Now we're having our own adventures that are kind of their own brand of thing. At least that's what like the trailers look like to me and stuff. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, that's good.
I could talk for forever about Rings of Power season 2 being back, but I will not like.
Did you
bore
say
all of
being
you guys.
bad or being back?
Back. I would never say that it's bad. I like it. I know that I'm like destined to love shows that most people don't like, but like
Name
I genuinely
one.
like it.
Listen, I again, I don't mind what people think about me. I enjoyed season 1, so from that standpoint, I would like to watch season 2. I the only thing I heard consistently was it was like a bit slow. But otherwise...
But Patrick's been hearing that his whole life, so it's fine. He's used to hearing that.
I think that I do understand the slow comment, but I feel like it's just because this season is setting up so much stuff to happen. But that's my opinion. I've been really liking it. I think the first season is a little bit stronger than the second one so far. There's still 2 episodes left, but I love this show, and I'm so happy. I think, like, if you like this show or not. Like, it's Lord of the Rings, the TV show. I don't need to sell anybody on this, but if you like it, I would love to talk about it on Slack and stuff. I've been talking about it with my Lord of the Rings D&D group, and that's pretty much it. So
the only thing that bothers me is that the armor looks like someone bought it from the child section in the back of a Bible gateway. Other than that,
whose armor specifically do you think are like everyone's?
The armor of Christ, but for children.
It's
like
the belt
like
of
the
truth.
Elvish armor looks like that. Like, or all. I'm just curious.
A lot of the armor.
You really need to read some scripture, Lauren.
Yeah, then I would know.
But otherwise, I enjoy it.
That's so funny. I think the costumes are great, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Let me know if you like have thoughts or theories about this season and stuff. I think there's just a little wiggle room on what's left to come, and it's fun.
On the topic of Lord of the Rings, I did think to say this to you, but thought it would have to come in organically, and you have beautifully brought this in organically. I just watched this video today that talks about a fan theory that Frodo doesn't know Legolas's name. There's one line. This is more for you, Patrick, because Lauren's heard this. There's one line in the entire series where Legolas communicates directly with Frodo, and it's when he says, "And you have my bow." That's it. That's the only time they interact with one another. The evidence that he doesn't know his name is at the end when it's kind of in that ethereal after he's like almost died and gets saved and all the characters are coming in, right?
And it's all like white and heavenly.
You see everything's in slow motion and you see him mouth everyone's name like Gimli, Aragorn, and then when he walks in, when Legolas walks in, he goes. He doesn't say his name. He just has this look of like, and he's here. Where do
I know that guy from?
I want to say Steven, but I'm not. I thought that was a hilarious fan theory. And,
that is
for
one
all
of my
intents and
favorite,
purposes,
silly fan theories.
It checks out. It checks out.
It's perfect. Well, that's all I think I will talk about for now. I have a few other things that happened in the last month, but I'm going to save them for later. So, Andrew, it is your turn.
Okay. I got a gift. Becca came back she was gone last week. She was down in Florida, spending some time at Disney, spending some time with friends and family. And she actually met up with our friend of the show, Jason Ratner. Who used to be he used to work for Disney Creative, and he now works for Loungefly. I think he works for Loungefly as a creative. He does a lot of those Loungefly bags, and ironically, specifically the Disney ones. He says he draws more Disney characters now that he works at Loungefly than when he worked at Disney.
That's funny.
But he sent her back with just a little gift for me, a little surprise, and it is this right here, the D23 Magic and Mysteries Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey Mouse. Now, when you join D23, the very first time, you get an incentive gift. I think I showed mine from like 2 years ago, that Chrome Mickey from the Disney 100. Yeah, so that was the incentive gift that year. This past year, it was this D23 Magic and Mystery set, and you'd get this Mickey, the Sorcerer Mickey was the everyone got that, and then there was a mystery character that would come along with it, and it was like one of 5 or 6 other characters, and they had something to do with magic or whatever. But I did not know that this existed. So he sent this, and this is specifically the Cosmic Blue Variant Edition. Haven't seen this at all. I'm going to show this.
Ooh,
Let's see if it'll show up. Can you see the sparkles in his... Like, he's like glittery inside, and he's like this translucent blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Are they all
nice.
one color?
No, the other ones are all like fully like the full character like color painting. They are all like.
Did you like this one better? Or...
I hadn't seen this one at all. So when I got the box, it's like, oh, that's really cool. Like he gave me the Mickey from that thing. But this one is a Cosmic Blue variant. I have no idea how he got this. I had never seen it. I do like it. It's actually on the shelf in the living room. I brought it in here to show you guys, but super cool. Thank you, Jay. Don't know where it came from, but very grateful for it.
The packaging's really cool too. How it looks like the spell book.
Yeah, it's just a big spell book. Yeah, it's really neat. The other thing, we started watching Veep again. I'm watching it for like the 3rd time through. Becca is now watching it for the first time. She is loving it, and I'm loving that she's loving it. I found out when we started watching this that she loves political shows. So I said, why haven't we watched Newsroom? Why haven't we watched West Wing? And so now we have a whole stream of things that we need to watch because both of those are fantastic. Very different than Veep, but nonetheless, very, very good. And then I listened to a podcast that I think our listeners would be interested in. Patrick, I actually think you would like this too. It's a podcast called, I want to get this right. It's called Land of the Giants. It's a podcast put out by Vulture. So that the media people, Vulture. And this particular one is season 10. Season 10 is comprised of 6 different episodes, but this particular one is all about Disney from beginning to end, and what is Disney, and what has it become, where did it come from, things like that. So the episode titles are Disney is a TV company, Disney is a theme parks company, Disney is an animation company, Disney is a cinematic universe company, Disney is Bob Iger's company, and finally, Disney is a tech company with a question mark. So it runs through its history, and then each episode focuses on these different elements, and it picks it apart. It's not like a Disney fan podcast. It's a details, data driven, a source of it's like infotainment for sure. But the production value is super high. They do their research. They have interviews with people. They pull clips from different media outlets and sources. But it's really interesting. Like, I know a lot about Disney, and I still learned some things from this, and it was really, really interesting. So I would listen to this if you're even remotely interested in it. It's not a big commitment. Each episode is like 38, 42 minutes. Like, for podcast episodes, they're very, very much bite size, very much approachable. So Land of the Giants, just search it on your podcast feed and just listen. It's season 10. Just listen to season 10. I don't know what the other seasons are. I might go back because the production value was really good. I might go back and listen to some of the other ones, but this one was recommended to me, and I'm glad that it was. So, okay, I think that's all I need to talk about. So I think we can head over to our master categories.
Do you ever feel like you'll just get saturated with Disney content and get sick of it?
Yeah.
The limit exists.
Yeah. For me,
well, it's like, because even I, who don't consume near as much as some people in this community, whenever I strike out and find content, I find myself already knowing like 90% of it, because so many people just rehash the same points and perspectives over and over and over. It feels increasingly
difficult. You mean in
difficult.
general, or do you mean specifically with Disney?
Well, I'm sure it's a general thing, but I am specifically asking about Disney, because it's not like, unless you're doing some type of like revisionist history, the history is the history. So like, how many times can you heard it told? And there are
Sure,
people
yeah.
that have already told it really well.
But hearing the history of Disney from Disney is different than hearing the history of Disney from a third-party source.
Sure.
Because Disney telling Disney's history is revisionist history, like to a certain extent. Like you'd have to live in a world of rose-colored glasses to believe that everything is, unicorns and rainbows, right? And that's how they would communicate. Like that's how they would depict their history. So if all of your sources for Disney history are Disney shows that you've watched on Disney Plus or whatever, or books that have been published by Disney, which was is a lot of what people take in, then it's just an echo chamber, which isn't super helpful.
Who makes I'm sure this exists, so you just need to tell me who makes it. Who makes the content where it's like, this guy that does sanitation design explains how Disney handles their sanitation?
Yeah. There are
like
bits and
jobs of
pieces of
Disney.
that on different shows and different things, but I don't know that there's a single source and maybe someone in our chat or someone in our community would know if there's like a dedicated thing that's just to the inner workings from that perspective.
Like
but I
experts talking about how because I hear people's opinion on
sure.
different aspects, but
some
are
of that
expert.
stuff. There's some of that stuff that you get from Bob Gurr's show. He is a former Disney Imagineer, and he has former Disney Imagineers that come on his show. Disney Dish has some of that. It's not regular, but a handful of times a year they'll bring in people that are either former Disney Imagineers or former cast member, like higher up cast members, and they talk through some of that stuff. But it's not like that's not the main premise of their show. So.
Because in fairness, I will say this, because not a Disney guy, but there aren't a lot of Disneys. So
Yes.
if you're interested at all at how some of these things behave at scale, you have to learn about how Disney does it, or maybe that's the only person operating at that scale and there's no one else to learn from.
Right.
So from that perspective, I am interested.
Yeah. And it might exist. Yeah. And a lot of that stuff probably exists as Caltech, actual courses, because a lot of Caltech people end up working with Imagineering and things like that. So maybe they come back because it's close by, right? So like that stuff, and like UC, University of California or whatever, they have some of that stuff. So there may be courses that exist out west. But in terms of like readily accessible media, I don't know. I'm sure something does exist somewhere. I have not stumbled across it. So.
Cool.
Okay, that's gonna be it. Well, I think we already did that part.
Hey.
Our master categories are when we talk about the things we want to talk about, and that's all there is to it. We make the rules, so just deal with it.
Those days may be numbered, but
us making our own rules.
Yes.
I was like, I've got a spreadsheet pulled up that might say different.
Lauren, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, speaking of Disney. So I wanted to talk about Agatha All Along that just came out this week. I felt like I was totally out of the loop on this one. I was kind of like Andrew, we were talking about a minute before we started, and he's like, oh, that came out already? And I was kind of in the same boat where I was like, oh, yeah, that did come out. I hadn't even really watched the trailer for this, to be honest, because I was like, I kind of felt like I had one foot out the door on all of this. And then I started seeing the interviews with Aubrey Plaza, and I didn't know she was in it. I was like, oh, this changes everything. I have to watch now. And I'm glad that I did, because I really, really liked the first 2 episodes. And then I did watch the trailer afterwards, and I think that looks even more exciting, of a full season kind of picture. And I also feel like this feels kind of fresh in the way that I don't know anything about this comic history. I knew a little bit about Scarlet Witch, so there were some things that I could pull from watching WandaVision, but this, Agatha Harkness is not a character I was aware of before that show. So
is there a comic of her? I thought this was a new. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was. I learned a lot of this today because I was surprised how much of the show is actually based on comics, based on how it feels watching it, and then just that it doesn't feel like a very comic booky thing. It's very witchy and creepy and weird, in a great way, honestly. But it just feels like not comic books in a way, which is kind of nice with the way that MCU has been going. But it is interesting. Like I think that the like origin of her character was like she was a like babysitter for Wanda's kids, but turns out she's a secret witch who's being controlled by the devil. You know, the usual.
Sure.
Classic.
But yeah, so I do find it like kind of fun because like it doesn't feel like very tied to the MCU or like I'm looking for clues in the same way I felt like I was in other Marvel stuff. The Easter eggy kind of stuff that I picked up on had more to do with what I know about like mythology or kind of witch lore or like pop culture witch stuff. Things like the Mother Maiden
Witch lore?
crone. Yeah.
See what I did there?
But that like so I was picking up more on that stuff and then I was like, oh yeah, this is a Marvel show. Like after I was thinking about it longer and kind of reading some stuff about it, I'm like, I see now where this is all gonna like tie back in. But I wasn't like it doesn't feel like as focused on that like on the surface as a lot of other Marvel things seem to worry about. And it does feel like more of a sequel to WandaVision than I expected also. I thought it was kind of going to be its own thing, but it has a lot of similarities. Since neither of you have watched it, I don't want to like say what the similarities are because it was a really fun surprise. And it has the same creative team though. So I think like a lot of the sensibilities of WandaVision are translated into the show, but in a way that feels like its own thing still. So I'm very intrigued with what they're doing.
I mean, that's a selling point for me. I was going to ask you if it felt like WandaVision at all. So even just hearing that little tease is more exciting than if it kind of broke out. Well, if it just kind of fell back into the normal, like kind of Marvel style.
This actually doesn't feel, it feels more WandaVision or like its own thing than it does a Marvel thing. Like I kept forgetting I was watching a Marvel thing more than once watching this because it feels like it's just I haven't quite put on my finger on what I think it like feels like other than that, but like it's very cool so far. I think the cast is awesome. Catherine Hahn is like really just showing off almost. Like she's so good in these first couple of episodes.
Literally, I
like,
understand.
Yeah. Yes, actually.
I did see the news article about, or I saw a quote from her from like the
naked?
red carpet. Yeah.
She's naked?
Yeah, like fully naked, actually. Like it was very like for a Disney Plus show. I was definitely surprised. But yeah, she's just.
Can we just
like,
pause and watch this real quick?
Yeah, we'll come back in a
research,
couple hours. Yeah,
it's research.
Yes, and what wonderful research it was. But I think like Aubrey Plaza's character seems really cool. I loved her in Legion, which is another kind of like Marvel adjacent thing because that is like a X-Men deal where it's about Charles Xavier's son. And she plays a character in that where she's giving like the same kind of chaos vibes and stuff that she is in this. And it just makes me happy because I'm like, anytime Aubrey Plaza gives the Lenny energy, it is like what I like most about her. And it's just kind of like all the things she does best, like being strange, being funny, being unpredictable, like just really kind of all rolled into a character that seems like really perfect for her. And then Patti LuPone is like another one of the like witches in their coven. She's incredible. Like pretty much everyone I'm kind of like already on board with. I think this is going to be a really fun show. I like the kind of setup that they've established so far. They've already got a new song that's like really, really catchy and cool. So I think like it's Halloween time now it's time to get into the kind of creepy witchy stuff. And this feels
Spooky
like
season.
perfect start. Yeah. It's like just right now. I feel like it's exactly what I wanted.
That's exciting. I was very excited for this show when they announced it, and then totally forgot about it. And I did see some of the marketing for it, and the marketing seemed genuinely creepy. So I'm glad to hear that they went that direction and didn't like nerf it.
It feels so different, and I think that's like a great thing to have for them. But yeah, I can't wait to hear what you guys think when you watch it. So you have to let me know.
Okay, will do.
Patrick, why don't you go next?
Oh yeah, we will.
Patrick.
We will keep some of these themes alive. So I just got here from The Substance about 30 minutes before we started recording. I got back from this film.
And which substance was that? Was it?
And well,
was it powdery in nature? Like what
I had only seen the poster. I had only seen the poster for this film. So before I get into what it is, let me tell you what was in my head about what it is.
Yes.
The poster shows a grid, and it's probably like 12 different squares. And each one of those has a screenshot, and they're all of a different person or scene. It says the substance in big letters. And then one of them is like zoomed in on a pupil. One of them is a guy that has like clearly is a smoker. He has like brown teeth and stuff. One of them is someone working out. One of them is like an injector. And so in my mind, okay, this is maybe some gritty style film about like the different substances we use or like people use to like feel a high of sorts.
Yes.
So I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, probably not for children, probably gritty, but it's got good reviews. Something substance related, yeah.
Yeah.
It turns out this is a body horror film, a very gory body horror film, and it is not about all these different substances. It's about a substance that someone takes that makes them split into another person, and then this goes on and continues.
I'm so happy that you watched this and didn't know what you were watching. That makes me so happy.
We were walking into the theater, and Spencer asked a question, and he went, "Wait, you really don't know what this is about?" And I said, "No, I've just seen the poster." And he seemed kind of giddy for how much I did not know about what I was about to
you
see.
Were like, did you remember your hat or no?
I did not have a hat with me. I literally thought I can't pull my hat down.
Your blankie was missing.
To give you an idea, I'm trying to see if there's any of the quick reviews. This says Twisted and Extreme. One of them said it should come with a barf bag. I will say I don't think it's that crazy. So for the film itself, when it does use effects, it is a lot of practical effects. And so those things are only as gory as you believe that like prosthetics and things are gory. I don't find practical effects terribly, like when we're talking about like full person or full model type things.
Would you say that in an effort to scare you, they are impractical effects?
Yes. However, a lot of needles in this movie. So if you wince, there are probably at least 100 punctures at different places. So maybe not the movie for you.
I hate like needle stuff and surgery stuff in horror movies. I hate it.
But
do any of them go under the fingernails?
That's also bad.
Fingernails are involved at one point. So here's the thing though. Here's the thing. The question is it a good movie? That's the question.
I have so many other questions. By the way.
Okay, this is not the type of movie I would go see. We all know this, but that doesn't mean that I can't watch something and still think of it as being objectively good, even if it's a genre that I find gross or whatever.
Repulsive.
The thing is, the idea for the film, you understand very quickly. Within the first 2 minutes of the film, you understand what they're getting at. And the entire film, I was waiting to know, like, okay, what's the twist on this? How do they elevate this idea? How do they either like monkey paw this or throw in like some Vanilla Sky twist or some other how do they flip some idea of beauty and aging on its head? Like what do they do to make this really different and interesting? And the thing is, they don't.
Halfway through, everyone becomes horse people.
Right. The idea is the idea, and it's always the idea. And the thesis of the film is something that you understand from the very beginning, and there's not a new spin on the thesis. There's not a new angle to look at it from. It is just that. It is so... And not only that, but the director kind of thinks you're dumb in the process. There's a couple of times where we see something, and we see it framed up very quickly. We know we're going to get a call back to it. And when we finally do get to like see the thing that would tie us back to the thing we see earlier, there's one point in the movie they literally flash back to a scene to re-show it to you. So not only is it on the nose, but the director also kind of thinks you're an idiot and can't just keep track of an idea for more than 30 minutes. So it's those types of things that made me just
Interesting.
also not enjoy the film objectively beyond the genre itself. It's not a genre that I like, but the story itself is too simplistic. There's not enough done with it. It's a first draft at best. Now, I do think so. The lead character in the film is Demi Moore. I do think Demi Moore is fairly good in the film. She's definitely very she definitely puts herself out there. And it's a very surprising performance, like given her career and things like that. And in some ways that kind of hits home more the idea of the film, since it's dealing with an actress later in her career. But no performance is going to save too simplistic, too easy of a plot. And so then when it does raise the actual action on screen, it almost feels silly because there's nothing else to it. It's just getting more and more extreme, but the idea is not evolving. And so for that reason, I just walked out of there really disliking it kind of all the way around. So that's it. I don't recommend the film, and I don't say that from the standpoint of it's too gory or it's too this or that.
It's too icky.
I just don't think it's a good film at all. But from any case, I don't think it's very strong. It was very disappointing.
Our rating system is 1 out of 10 historically. So what would you give it?
Oh, it's 3 for me.
Okay.
Wow.
It's a 3 for me, dog.
It's like a heavy F.
And I will say, it is one of those things that 1 or 2 points could have changed in the plot that would have made it interesting, and it would have jumped from a 3 up to like a 7. It wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have taken much, but the problem is they just didn't do anything.
Or if there was a character named Mid-Size Sedan. Like any...
I don't even know the Mid-Size Sedan could have saved this film.
Oh, wow. That's a heavy accusation.
I was about to say, and on that note, I think Old is a better film, but I don't know that I think Old is a better film. So.
It's on par with Old
even.
Is what you're saying.
I would say it is on par with Old.
And we didn't recommend, we actually did, not only did we not recommend people see it, we recommended officially that people not see it.
Yeah.
And this is in that same camp.
And this is one of those weird. So this has got like 89% with 230 reviews right now on Rotten Tomatoes. It is
what percent? Sorry.
89 with 230 reviews.
Much higher than I thought.
Yeah, it's not that it's getting bad reviews, but
maybe those people are the dumb people who needed them to spell it out for them.
Yeah, I will be excited off air to tell you more about it. Because in fairness, like I'm not giving away all the plot points, giving away everything that happens. Although you do now know the whole point of the film. But if you choose to see it, that's great. And then I'm excited to tell more y'all about it. I'll say the words in the right order. I'm excited to tell y'all more about it once we finish podcasting. But yeah, it's The Substance, and it was a very
unsubstantive.
Yeah.
Indeed. So anyway,
it doesn't live up to its name.
So that's just you, Andrew.
Okay, so we're gonna go from something that you can't stand to look at to something you just can't look away from, and that is the PlayStation original game Astrobot. So if you're a PlayStation 5 owner, you know who Astrobot is as a character, because when you first open up your PlayStation, the way that it teaches you how to use the new controllers and gives you all the new features of the new controller, like the tension-based triggers and the Rumble Pack like 8 or whatever it is that they're on now version of Rumble, and the microphone where you can blow into it and you can interact with it all these different ways. So it gives you this like little mini game is starred by Astrobot, this little character. He's just the most adorable little character. In fact, it will remind you a lot of Sackboy from Little Big Planet, if you remember that game from PlayStation a long time ago. It is, since that point, it became, I think it's like on all the platforms now, you can get Sackboy. And he's had a couple of different sequel video games as well. But it's reminiscent of that in terms of the cuteness level. And so he teaches you how to use this thing, and it's just this little mini game. Well, that game had performed so well that they developed an entire game around it. And so this is a full game called Astrobot, and Astrobot has an entire plot point. There's a storyline. It feels very much like Mario Odyssey in terms of like the general UI and game mechanics. But I'm going to show you some images right now. I'm going to share them on screen. Okay, it's fine. I updated my computer, and so now it's asking for all the permissions and stuff again to Sequoia. Okay, here we go. This is Astrobot.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's kind of cutting off, but as you can see, there's a big PlayStation console in the back. Mm-hmm. The guy you're looking at over on the left, this alien-looking guy, he's the main antagonist of the game. I'm giving you what you would find out in the first 60 seconds of the game because this is how it sets up the actual gameplay. This guy right here, this green alien-looking guy, he bumps into your PlayStation, which is a rocket. It's a spaceship, and all of the components of the game, or all of the components of the PlayStation, scatter across the universe. And what you have to do, and all of your bots, your Astrobots, there's 300 Astrobots. Wow. All of them get scattered across the universe, except for one. One is left, and you play as that one. And your goal, as you can imagine, is to make your way across the galaxy and rescue these Astrobots, as you can see them right down here, these Astrobots, and ultimately regain all of the pieces, the hardware of your PlayStation, and reassemble the PlayStation to finish the game. So that's
a little bit of Katamari.
the general premise of this. What?
It's like a little bit like Katamari too. Like
interesting you say that, Lauren. Yeah. Lauren, interesting you say that. Because perfect segue into these Astrobots are right here. These Astrobots are a celebration of all things PlayStation. These are all the That's PlayStation really original games, and they are Astrobot characters of these characters that you've played in 100 times. So you've got Katamari, you've got this is God of War right here. This Monster is Hunter. Jackson, I can't remember the thing. This is Monkey Island back here. This is Uncharted. This is Horizon. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can see just a little tip over here of Ratchet and Clank. Actually, I think I have other images. Here we go. Here's a couple of
so cool.
the character designs of them in these different skins. Again, Uncharted right here, God of War, and Horizon.
They're really cute.
They're so cute, and they're so well done. And the levels that you play, the worlds that you play, some of them are themed to these PlayStation properties, and so you get fully immersed into that property. But it's a version of the game, a version of that game that looks like this. It's beautiful in its it's beautiful, but it's not just simple. Yes, Little Big Planet. Yep. Jedi's just now catching up to we were saying, but look, you can just see there's so many, and on top of all the ones that I've mentioned, you've got Parappa the Rapper right there.
That's a great
You
game.
cannot have a PlayStation like a PlayStation Celebration game without Parappa the Rapper. There's
That's
like
so cute.
Castlevania.
Is that Dark
there's
Souls above
The
him?
Last of Us. There's Dark Souls. There's like just all of the games that you would come to expect. And on top of all of that, this game released last week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. On top of all of that, not only is this game a celebration of PlayStation, but they took this virtual celebration and they expanded it into the real world by creating this. It is a controller that is themed after the controller. The spaceship that you fly around on, by the way, from galaxy to galaxy, is the controller. And so you get to skin your controller in game, but this is what he looks like. He's an interactive controller, and you can now get the physical version of this controller in the real world. But it'll set you back. It's like $140 for this controller or something like that. It's
How
not cheap.
does this game compare to Chex Quest?
I don't know what Chex Quest is.
Is that like 7-Up game?
Oh, no.
Is that what you're talking about?
Is that what you're talking about?
It's the Doom reskin that came with Chex cereal called Chex Quest, back in the 90s.
Oh, I
have no idea. It would have been on a computer, wouldn't it? I didn't play computer games.
Yeah,
in
but
the
I'm
90s.
just saying, to me, that's the best example of a.
This feels like a slightly more elevated version of that, maybe.
Well, yeah, because this, they're just making a game about their product. Chex Quest is kind of like the same thing. So
sure, yeah. We'll say this is very Chex Questy.
Okay, so when you say that it has,
here's the.
Of all these people, these are people from like classic PlayStation games, but this goes all the way back to like PS1 games or specifically like PS5.
No,
you can tell.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
Yes,
Parappa the Rapper was like really old.
Do we get cool borders?
I don't think we have cool borders.
I'm done. Borders. I'm out.
You've got quite. I don't know that Cool Borders was as quintessentially PlayStation as some of these other ones. These ones were like, maybe Cool Borders was made by a company that no longer has they can no longer get the IP from. I don't know licensing.
Maybe you just haven't
I'm sure
found
they
it
have
yet.
a Crash Bandicoot one. I feel like
Crash Bandicoot
classic.
is in here. I couldn't find a screenshot of them. They have Crash Bandicoot.
Classic.
It is classic. And in fact, one of the fun things that Cooper told me, because Cooper's all about this game. I've been playing this. Cooper bought it, and I've been playing it a ton. It's so much fun. It's such a unique game in how they articulate this stuff, but it's so fun. Like it's not, and the boss battles are not like your classic Mario 3 hits and done, and they're all basically the same thing but just skinned differently. The boss mechanics in here are really unique and interesting, and the way that you have to approach these you've got to figure out how to do it. It's not necessarily Tony Hawk. No, there's no Pro Skater.
Damn.
There's no Pro Skater. Sorry,
So
but Pro Skater
there was no board content, is what you're
I
telling me.
don't think that those were PlayStation exclusives. That's
okay.
I think that's
Cool Borders was PlayStation.
Okay, maybe
exclusive.
it was, but for sure Pro Skater was
Probably not anymore.
And maybe that's it. Like maybe it's no, because some of these are. I don't know. All I know is you should play this game.
Got some to add later. Then.
If you've not, maybe they're in the DLC. If you've not, or if you grew up playing PlayStation games other than games that required boards, there is something for you in here. They've got like Solid Snake, and they've got.
Do they have Final Fantasy? But I feel like that's now not exclusive, but that was for the longest time. Like all the
there probably is Final Fantasy. I've just not gotten there yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly it's just so much fun.
Was Resident Evil PlayStation exclusive?
Yes, and there is Resident Evil.
Okay.
Here.
I finally got one. This is ridiculous. Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo, I believe, is in this. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And there's 300 you have to collect. I'm at 144, so I'm not even halfway through the game yet.
Gotta catch them all.
I do. It's like Pokemon. But it's just been a blast to watch
really
and see these things.
I
And
like
the very final thing, if you 100% the game, if you platinum the game, you get a final skin for your controller. Because like I said, you can see it back here a little bit. I was trying to zoom in, but it's not zooming. You fly around on this controller in between levels and things. The final skin that you unlock is a PlayStation 1 skin for the controller, and so I'm pushing for that because that's going to be great. So anyway, Astro bought
cool.
PlayStation 5. It runs seamlessly. It runs perfectly. It's beautiful. It taps into all of the technologies of your PlayStation 5, which is why they did it, and it's just perfectly. You were a Nintendo home. Sorry. I mean, so was I, but then I did get a PS1. I had a PlayStation. I had a
I also,
PlayStation.
I literally went to my neighbor's house to play PlayStation all the time. Like we had the Nintendo and they had a PlayStation, and so we would like go to each other's house to play the different games.
Yeah, you guys collabed. We had a PlayStation. I grew up with Nintendo, but then I got a PlayStation, and then I didn't get a PlayStation 2, but I did get a PS1 when they did the little mini.
Yeah.
Like it was like this big, and it was so freaking cute. I did get a PS1, and then I didn't get another PlayStation until PlayStation 4. 4 or 3. It was the big shiny black one. I don't remember which one that was.
That's
What it was.
4. Like the
4.
wider square one.
It was wide. Yeah, it was 3. It
3.
was 3.
Yeah,
it was
3
3.
was smaller.
Yeah, it was 3. And then I skipped that one and then got PS5 with Cooper. And they're doing a 30th anniversary PS5 Pro. It's called PS5 Pro. Oh my gosh, it is gray like the original, and it has the logo for it. It has the symbols, the 4 shape symbols, and in front of the circle is a 3. So they incorporate a 3 into it for the 30. It is
that's cool.
beautiful.
That's awesome.
Absolutely beautiful.
Did anyone else think, so on the PlayStation 3, did anyone else think that the text across the side of it looked like the text for the film, like Spider-Man 2 or 3?
Absolutely. It's the same font.
It's
it was
gotta
Sony.
be, right?
It was Sony. No, it literally
you're
was
right,
the same
it
font.
is, yeah.
It like that's all I ever saw. I would see PlayStation 3 and I just thought Spider-Man. That's what I thought every time.
Here, I'm going to show you this. This is
Messaging.
This is the Pro.
I was like, Spider-Man is also a PlayStation exclusive game. Not classic, it's fresh.
Yeah, there's going to be a limited number
Those
of
do
these,
look
though.
really
But
nice.
they look great. But they are going to be limited.
Look at that.
Yeah.
How pretty does that look?
Okay, but show us PlayStation 3. Just show us the logo on the side.
Oh yeah, PlayStation 3. Let's do it here. It literally was the Spider-Man font. Yep, that's the one that I had.
Yeah, I feel like I've never noticed that before, but now I can't unsee it.
Yeah, that one on the far left right there.
Yeah.
It's just it's the same font for sure.
I think you are totally right. Or very similar.
No, hear me. It literally is. They were both owned by Sony. When they did it out, it is the exact same font that they used.
Yeah, but that's all I see.
You can get one for $139. You can get a PlayStation 3 on Walmart. That's interesting. Okay, that's it for me. Astrobot, please go play the game. It's such a fun game. It's honestly, I can't recommend it enough. And you'll have such a great time with it. Even if you didn't love PlayStation games growing up.
Wait, you're saying you can't recommend it?
I can't recommend it. And that's enough.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was. If I wasn't clear, this doesn't get the full support that Patrick's class warfare gets Patrick's stamp of
The
approval.
best thing I saw this week was something called class warfare.
And it has Patrick's full stamp of approval.
Yeah.
He buys into all of the philosophies of that. So anyway, that's gonna be it for us. So I think let's roll some dice for the first time in a hot minute. And see, what the category fairies are gonna bring to us next week.
I'm using some dice that I was gifted at DragonCon.
Nice. Are they ribbons? Because they won't roll very well.
No, it's a real dice. And I got a 16, which is great.
I got a 2 on my D20.
Okay.
All right, 16 for me is going to be film. 2 for you is front page. That's fun.
I got an 18.
And I got a 4, so anytime.
And you got podcast YouTube / YouTube.
And I got a 6 because I rolled a D6 instead of a D4.
Did you get a low enough number to make it work anyway?
What a happy accident.
If you got like a 1, 2, 3, or 4, I feel like we can still count it.
But I didn't. I got a 6. What was my category? Sorry, I missed it.
YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube
podcast or whatever.
Podcast / YouTube.
Dang it!
I know. I was thinking about that.
About my. That's fine. And I got a 4, so I can talk about any time I want to.
Is 2 past or future? I don't remember. The order
2
now.
is present.
Thank you.
Neither.
Past, present, and future are and then
I'm
it's
on a-
anytime. We get like
Great
dealer's
job.
choice. Okay, everybody, you can find show notes and links to this over at mof1.network. While you're there, find a whole bunch of other episodes about stuff that we've talked about over the years. There's a lot of them there. Check them out. You can find us on Slack to talk to us throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. And honestly, it's just throughout our lives. And that's what it's all about. It's about doing lives together.
Interesting.
And that's what podcasts have always been about. So just take a moment to join us on there. It's the little hashtag logo, the little pound symbol, the whatever you want to call it, on our website, and it'll take you right to our Slack channel and join the conversation there. So many different channels hopping up and popping at all hours of the day. And, like, rate and review, subscribe, all of those things on the platforms. If you're not watching this on Twitch, you're missing out. Or if you're not watching this on YouTube live, you're missing out. It's just an opportunity to join us during the conversation and be a part of the show, honestly. And what else? Am I missing anything else? I don't think so. You can find us on social, M of1 Podcast. I'm at Andrew Sale with 3s instead of E's, and at Drawtober, Disney Drawtober, coming up here in the next 2 weeks. Lauren, where do people find you?
I am at Not Cool Co. everywhere.
Patrick?
And I am...
The Substance.
Yeah, that's fine.
On that note, we're going to hop out of here. We'll talk to you next week. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Patrick.
Peace out, everybody.
Adios.
Bye. Okay.
I got a hair in my mouth.
Oh,
And
stop
Sorry.
it.
Like towards
Sounds
like the
annoying.
middle
Oh,
of
that
the
started
outro.
loud.
It did. It came in hot and it scared me a little. I felt it about halfway through my outro, and I had to just keep pushing through. And now you
At
all
least
are
you
aware
didn't
of
swallow it.
I genuinely wish none of this had been said.
I didn't say this on the show.
This is the
but
thrilling outro.
this past week, I got all the art. I talked last week about how I was going to be doing this, but all of the art in the room, like the stacked up art that you have seen, Patrick, just like it just an obscene amount of framed art.
It's boxed.
All of it got taken out of the frames, and all of it got put under the bed, and I delivered over 50 frames to Goodwill.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a
See, I buy a
lot.
lot of frames at Goodwill for reasons exactly like this.
I unloaded a lot, and it made room for let me see if I can do
Because
this.
that's the thing. The frames are what take up all the space.
It really is.
At least
Yeah.
when you're storing, yeah.
Let me do this. I'm going to add an extra camera. I'm going to put this one, and I'm going to show you, Patrick.
Show
There
me.
we go. Look what it made room for.
room.
Familiar.
But yes, also that case.
Yeah, that case is there.
But
now,
also a
so-
room.
Looking really nice.
Yeah, it's it's a completed room. Can you imagine?
Your Bucky's pillow reminded me that there was a full Bucky's meetup at DragonCon this year, which blew my mind.
That's so stupid.
A Bucky's meetup.
Yeah.
There's too many of me. How do I get this one off? Just
I
hide
don't
it?
know.
There we go.
I don't
Okay.
know. I did. I didn't want to see it.
Scary. It was all
So
blown
scary.
out. Yeah, it's cool. Getting rid of that was it felt really nice. It feels like it's just a weight off of my shoulders to be able to have a room.
Now you can
that
spread
feels
out.
completed.
There's room for activities.
Jedi, what were you asking was backwards compatible with the PS3? Were you asking if the game was backwards compatible or something else?
Well, they used to have some PS3s that were like you could put
They
in the discs
were
for the
compatible
old ones.
and some weren't. Yeah, some of them like
I
you could
played-
play old games and some of them you couldn't.
I remember we definitely had that PS3 because I played all the old DDR games through that.
Oh, you're saying there was a backwards compatible PS3.
Yes.
So that means you could play like the PS1 and PS2 games on it.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
but there was also a version of it that you couldn't. You could only play modern games on.
But that was a really big deal at the time because like Nintendo and everything else had cartridges that were different every time, so you had to like keep the systems and the games every time.
Right.
remember-
Xbox
For
was
all of you
backwards
young
compatible
children
from 1 to
watching
2.
who don't remember these times.
Yeah, I think Xbox had backwards compatibility longer than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
but it
only
came
I
out
think
after
only
PlayStation.
I think only certain games weren't backwards compatible.
Do you know
on
what
the Xbox.
one of my fondest memories is?
Yeah,
And
Working
I don't
Girl.
even know if PlayStation. I don't even know if PlayStation did this, but I remember on Xbox you could add music and set up your own playlist. And so instead of having to listen to the game's music, you could just listen to your music.
Yeah, and you could rip songs from a disc like onto your
Yes.
hard drive.
Oh man, there were so many games because I don't know that everyone you could do custom soundtrack, but like you could on Tony Hawk, you could on one of the
Oh,
like
yeah, I
ATV
remember
games that I
that.
played. So I would just prioritize playing games where I could listen to my music.
But why would you make your own playlist? The Pro Skater one was so classic. It was so good.
I'll never know. just
You
just
didn't
kidding.
listen
I
to it
do.
first, even.
Didn't the
Like, give it a
didn't the
chance?
classic Pro Skater one have like Sublime on it?
Yeah,
And,
it had
yeah.
all of the it had all the
I think it had,
the
like,
chop
Blink-182
tartars.
and, like, yeah.
The top charters. That's what it's called. Chop tartars. You know those
Say it
guys-
again.
tart. There's a lot for you to say over there, Mr. Class Warfare boy.
Calm down. The songs. Wait. They don't have the original songs anymore? Then genuinely, it's not even worth playing.
Like, if they made a new one, they changed. They don't have. Oh, do they not have rights to the songs? Like, that's.
But they
crazy.
should.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think typically like rights only last for a couple of years. My guess is like obviously if it was produced the music, you'd have it. But if it's being remade, they would have to relicense it. So
Yeah,
it's
So
like
if you're
for
buying
instance-
an old copy, if you're buying a copywritten copy from the time, then that's one thing. But if you're remastering the game, you're releasing it as a new game, you have to get new licensing.
you have to redo
for it.
licensing. What's interesting, so like, we watched the show The Challenge, which is an MTV show, and they do a lot of music through those episodes. Well, they have to relicense that music every so many years when they have it on like Netflix and things. Now it's on their app. I think they did have some seasons on Netflix at one point. So there are some episodes and seasons. I don't know if it's because they failed to get licensing or too much of the episode would have to be cut out. That a season will just be missing 2 episodes because of the music
Oh.
licensing.
We're
crazy.
familiar
Very
with that.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have whole chunks of our archive that are not currently present. At one point, I'm just gonna say it now because we've never done it and we will probably never do it. At one point, we were going to release an upside down version of our website. You remember this, Patrick?
Sure.
That had those episodes that people could go and listen to on our site. And not be able, the ones that you can't stream on podcast channels or feeds, because we still have
secret
access to
menu.
those files, but they just can't just be on the streaming stuff. Basically,
Yeah.
they can't be on YouTube. They can't be on podcast platforms.
So it's like, what is like 30 or 40 episodes?
It's a lot. It's a lot of our
Yeah.
first, almost our entire first year is on there. And we were going to have it so where you clicked on a specific little like button on our website, and our website went to the upside down, so it was like black and it had all these particles. We had this idea back when Stranger Things was fairly
Oh, really?
Would you believe?
can you imagine where we may have gotten this idea? But it had all these like floating particles and things that were going to be on there, and we never executed it. But how cool would that have been?
Yeah,
I
think
think
it's a
I
great
actually
idea.
built the stuff on the site side, but I never ported over all the episodes.
I do
So it's halfway
I
there.
vaguely remember seeing at least
Yeah.
demonstrating the particle stuff. I don't know if it was ever implemented on the website, but
Yeah.
I do remember seeing the particle like fusion stuff that
I like the idea that
Well,
we were going to
Stranger
rip
Things
off.
is coming back pretty soon, so you've got one last chance.
I do like the idea that we were going to rip off more properties in order
Yeah.
to let people access episodes with ripped off music.
we were doing it way before AI was doing it. That's all I gotta say.
That is true.
It's parody.
Oh gosh. All right, everybody. Well, Lauren and Patrick and I have some business to tend to, so we're gonna let you guys go, and then we're gonna chat for a few more minutes. So we'll see you next week, everybody.
Sounds ominous. I don't know if I want to chat.
Yeah.
Keep me with you. Don't make me go.
Patrick's
Being
gonna
sent to
stick
the
around.
principal's office.